Hi, and welcome to the August edition of Breck Buzz. I'm your host, Brooke Attebery, the Communications and Marketing Coordinator for the town of Breckenridge, and this month we will be focused on all things housing. Today we are joined with Councilmember Todd Rankin and our Program Manager of Housing and Childcare, Laurie, who has been with us for like 20 years. Super excited to have them with us. How are you guys today?
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're great.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
So the town has created programs like buy downs and housing helps. Can you briefly explain what the purpose of these programs are and how they benefit the community?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Housing Helps and the Buy Down program, we launched both of these a couple years ago, and they're very important strategies in terms of our housing program because they're different from new construction. We have quite a few projects under construction right now, but it is equally important to try to preserve some of the existing inventory that has traditionally or historically served our workforce, and that's what the Housing Helps program and the Buy Down program are both intended to do. They're slightly different from each other. With Housing Helps, the town of Breck never actually acquires the property, but we acquire a deed restriction on the property. So it's a way that we can provide the owner or person that intends to buy a market rate unit with some funds that they can use for whatever purpose. Buyers typically would use it as part of their down payment, but we're basically compensating them for a deed restriction that they're agreeing to put on their property. So that's the idea behind Housing Helps and Buy Downs. And over the last 2 years or so since we launched those programs, we've helped 35 owners with Housing Helps funds, and in return got a deed restriction on those 35 units. We've acquired 25 buy downs. So buy downs are a little bit different. Those are units where we actually take possession of the property, we buy it. We pay the seller full price or market price. So this enables the folks that have been out there in the community for a while and have earned appreciation on their unit, and it's time for them to leave for one reason or another, unfortunately. But we actually acquire their property, pay them market value, then we deed restrict it and flip it back out and make it affordable to a qualified local person. And so that is also helping us to preserve our existing neighborhoods. Like Housing Helps, it's all about preserving existing inventory that we're losing, unfortunately, because a lot of our neighborhoods, and I'm sure people have seen this, we're losing locals who have lived in these local neighborhoods, and we're losing them to retirement homes or remote workers, vacation homes. And so both those programs will help us preserve some of that existing inventory. I think we've acquired about 25 units in the last 2 years through buy down. So altogether, it's about 60 units that have been preserved for locals, and those are in local neighborhoods.
That's amazing. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, I really like the speed to market on the buy down program and the Housing Helps, and I think we'll touch on this in a little bit, where basically, new projects like Still Some Placer that'll be coming out of the ground, that's going to take about 3 years from kind of saying let's go to having folks moving in, whereas with the buy downs, that's a
it's
really
immediate.
quick turn.
As quick as you can close.
Yeah, and especially in this market, I think that's super important. I would certainly want to encourage folks in the real estate community. Housing Helps is a great program. If you got buyers out there trying to figure out how to make it work from a cash down payment or trying to make the purchase price work, please, if you sell real estate and you have local clients looking, please investigate Housing Helps. It's a really wonderful program that hopefully keeps more locals in the community.
And it complements the new construction. We obviously can't build our way out of this, and not everybody wants to live in brand new construction. They want to live in neighborhoods that have been here for a while. So those programs are both really complementary to the new construction that's going on.
Yeah, I think we need all those programs to have a successful housing program here.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that leads me into the next part of my question, is what are the new kind of projects that are going on and going to be able to see in the community in Breckenridge?
Yeah, there's a couple of neat projects that are coming out of the ground here soon. One's actually hopefully be closing here in December. So Alta Verde 1 should be bringing on about 80 units. Those are 1 and 2 and 3 bedroom units, and those are going to be rentals. I believe those are all net zero. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's
Net zero.
super cool and sustainable, and we'll be touching on that here in a minute. But basically, the price points on those as rentals is going to be really targeted at, kind of entry to mid-level and making sure folks have a way to get their foot in the door if they're working here in the community. So that's super important. So 80 units coming in December, and then working on a really neat project with the county, kind of a joint partnership for looking like it's going to be modular construction right near the Justice Center there, just down from the rec center. So kind of prime real estate, 52 units there. Was reviewing the packet last night, and it looks like there's some studios in there, some 1 bedrooms and also some 2 bedrooms. So that'll be really exciting. And with them being modular, I think the idea there is to try and get those available to rent and live in. Maybe not as quick as the buy down program, but a little quicker than Still Some Placer, which is the third property I wanted to talk about. And actually jumping back to Alta Verde, there's another 172 units that are coming out of the ground on that as well. So in total with Alta Verde 1 and 2, there'll be 252 units, which is super exciting. 52 at the Justice Center. And then there was just an RFP launched for Still Some Placer, which is, if you're familiar with Breck, it's where the stables are. So kind of right next to the super successful Wellington and Lincoln Park. So another kind of iteration of that that should be in that 80, 90 unit range. And that's probably move-in ready if we're lucky late 24, early 2025.
Right.
So that's exciting, and yeah, lots of good stuff, and pretty impressive goal that you put out there of trying
It's
to
ambitious.
Yeah.
Ambitious goal.
You're going to be busy.
The unique about Stilson, I think, is we're focusing a lot on rentals in terms of our new construction right now. Alta Verde 1 is rental apartments. Alta Verde 2 is rental apartments. Justice Center is rental apartments. So bringing on a lot of rentals, because most of our needs assessments always point to rentals as our highest demand or biggest deficit. But I think it is unique. The Town of Breck Housing Program does focus on a variety of housing price points and types of housing because our workforce is very diverse. Stilson's going to bring on some for sale opportunities, so potentially some smaller units, potentially, but townhomes and maybe some singles and doubles, but it is for sale, which will be great for folks that are maybe that missing middle, which is always important to target as well.
Great. Well, it sounds like things are coming in the next couple of years, so we got to keep an eye out for that. I know you guys mentioned employee housing a couple times and what you guys were explaining. Can you guys touch a little bit more on that? Because that seems to be a big thing.
On employee housing?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got, it's super important. A lot of my friends that run businesses have been having challenges, and the key piece there, and we're seeing it with the county and the towns where housing is kind of that key component. So we're, super focused on trying to, have the whole spectrum of housing needs met, which is really challenging, but, your team's working really hard on it to make sure that we've got, places for folks to live.
Yeah, I would say the emphasis of the Town of Breck programs has always been to provide housing for our workforce, for the people that are employed locally and support the local economy. I mean, the purpose of our program is really twofold. It's making sure that we have people here to sustain our economy and support our employers. It's also about retaining a sense of community, where people they can move here and they can have a job on Main Street, and then as they stay longer and their housing needs change, we have different product to serve people at different points in their lives. And it is all about workforce and community, so that we don't become a community where nobody lives and there's no connection between the people who are employed in our town and the community. It's really important that there be that connection. It's all about supporting community, supporting families. People can come here and raise their families here and stay here. So.
Yeah,
That's the purpose of everything we do.
yeah, it's good stuff. And I think if I remember correctly, the number was we're targeting to try and have 50% of our employees live in the Upper Blue Basin.
Yep.
We're a little bit short of that right now, which is kind of why you're seeing this big push. To make sure, and I think you nailed it, the whole blend of places for workers to live, but also that community it's just vital to, it's the essence of what Breckenridge is.
Right. Great. Now, Laurie, I know you are working on the FiveYear Blueprint. Any updates on that?
Well, before I get to the blueprint, I do want to just, I know people are like, what's out there immediately available to me? And it's just important to know that we do have some units that are currently listed on the MLS. And we are going to be listing for additional units. These are opportunities for acquisition by somebody that wants to live in the unit and is employed locally, or by local businesses or investors. So if somebody is right now looking for an opportunity to buy a unit, whether it's for themselves or for their employees, please check the MLS. I don't know, Todd, if we want to go specifically into the units, but there's at least 5 now currently listed.
Yeah, I can touch on those.
Yeah.
So there's a 2-bedroom in Hideaway, there's a couple units in Grandview, Tannhauser, Wildflower, and then the last one's in Blazing Saddles. And yeah, I think the neat thing there, Laurie, there's also 4 more units that should be coming here in a week or so, which is great. And yeah, those are available to businesses and locals and investors. So yeah, the idea is that those are part of the buy down program, and super cool units that are ready to go if you need housing.
Now the FiveYear Blueprint. This is super exciting to be able to talk about the blueprint, and it basically, to me, demonstrates the commitment on behalf of the town to sort of forge forward and really take on this issue. Because as Brooke mentioned, I have been working on housing for 22 years. And Breckenridge has always been a leader in the field because we've had a commitment from the council in terms of resources, in terms of staff. But the FiveYear Blueprint is in response to the current sort of crisis around housing. There's so many trends that are coming to play right now that are just putting increased pressure on our housing stock. We're losing housing that historically served our locals, and we're seeing employers having to work with half the staff that they need. So I think we understand that it is a current crisis because of multiple reasons. I think it's demographics, and people are choosing to move wherever they want to live, and technology has enabled them to live here and work elsewhere. So it's technology, it's demographics with aging population. We're seeing more retirees. We're seeing obviously the remote workers. More people are choosing to vacation where they want to be, and just priorities around the way people are living their lives is putting more pressure on our housing market than ever in all of the 22 years I've been here. And it's always been a challenge, but it's incredibly difficult right now. And I think the council really asked us to put together a very specific plan for the next 5 years. What are the strategies that we're going to utilize to try to address the deficiencies in our housing inventory? And that included a commitment to buy down, so commitment to housing helps, a commitment to new construction where we can find available land. Obviously, we're challenged. There's just not that much buildable area. But we are looking under every stone to find property where we potentially could provide some new units. So the way I view the blueprint, it establishes the community's commitment to utilize a variety of strategies and to invest resources. We anticipate that over the next 5 years, the town of Breck will invest $50 million on housing. Now, we believe that that will be leveraged, and there will actually be about $300 million worth of investment in our community. And the way this happens is like with the Alta Verde 1 and Alta Verde 2 projects, we can put in a small loan to that project, and it results in a lot of additional investment that comes. For example, the Alta Verde 2 project, roughly a $75 million project, the town is loaning about $8 million to that project. So our $8 million turns into about $75 million of additional investment. So the blueprint really is a commitment to find opportunities to invest and to leverage the housing fund. And then it's very measurable goals in terms of number of units per year. And like Todd mentioned, really the goal is to get our ratios back to a reasonable balance in our community of vacation homes versus resident occupied homes, those homes that locals really live in. We would like that to be 35%. We're at 29%, so we've lost some ground. We also would like our in-commuters, more of our jobs to be held by people that actually live in the basin, so they're connected and part of our community, and have to rely less on in-commuters. I think right now, we would like to target about 47% of the jobs in the Upper Blue Basin are covered by people that live in the Upper Blue Basin. Right now, I think we're down to 35% are covered, and the rest are covered by in-commuters, which isn't good. It's not good for the employee, it's not good for the employer, it's not good for sustainability efforts, because you've got vehicle miles traveled, you've got congestion. So the more that we can house our local workforce in our community, the more successful our program will be. So that's a quick summary of the blueprint, but I would encourage everybody to take a look at the blueprint if you're interested, because it does have some very specific sort of programs and targets.
Yeah, it's a lot of incredible work. I think it's going to add something like housing for 1,700 employees,
Yep.
which over 5 years, that's a pretty short time frame, and hopefully that has a tremendous impact for our businesses and our community.
I certainly hope it helps you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes
Yeah,
of it,
yeah,
so that'll be good.
Well, and I have to do a monthly report card. So there's, accountability included in the blueprint. And, we may see sometimes where we're seeing more success with buy downs and less with housing helps, fewer new construction. But in the end, we have the target of 974 additional units deed restricted.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yes, it's ambitious. I
Yeah.
think it's been called ambitious. It's been called by many other communities, and how are you guys doing this? And it's like, well, we have a commitment from our council and our community, so we're fortunate.
Yeah. And if anyone can do it, it's you, Laurie.
It can be exhausting, but it's awesome. I think I always tell people I have the best job in the world, because you get to work on projects that are going to help our community, and we do see success, even though we see a lot of challenges too.
Okay. Now, I know you've talked about sustainability and you talked about net zero, and I know that's a big focus on the council and town in general. So would you like to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Love to. It's really one of those challenges, but our council is so committed to sustainability that our expectation is that all of our new construction will be net zero. So I think we are out there leading the effort in terms of sustainability, and what we do is it's very important from the very start of a new project to understand, okay, if sustainability is one of our highest priorities, in addition to affordability and making sure the units meet the needs of our community, we are not just building beds and its density at all costs. It's really important for every one of our projects to support community and people that are going to be here for a while. So those are all the priorities that we look at when we start talking about a new project. But with sustainability from the very get-go, from your master planning to your site planning, you want to have your building orientation and your unit size, building sizes, located on the site so that you can maximize your passive energy, because a big part of how we define sustainability is that you produce as much energy on site as you use. So if we can reduce the amount we use, that's our very first approach. And so we'll orient the buildings properly. We'll make sure we have excellent insulation with your building envelope, your windows, your roof, your walls. So doing that, and then your mechanical system, everything you can do to reduce your energy consumption is your first step. Then basically, as part of the net zero, we will offset any energy use that is in excess of what we're using. So it's twofold: reduce your use, and then cover the balance with PV. And so it's super exciting. Net zero at Alta Verde 1 and Alta Verde 2 are probably the two biggest net zero apartment complexes that I'm aware of. And I think particularly with Alta Verde 2, it's going to be really interesting because we worked hard on that building envelope to reduce our use. So, And this makes those units affordable over time. And not only is it better for the community and the world, it is better for those tenants and also for the managers of those complexes to reduce your energy consumption.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly important that we set the example, being in a ski town where snow is important, and yeah, it's great that these projects are really leading the way, and it's also great that we've got a good partner with the county on the Justice Center project where they've bought into that whole concept of net zero as well, so we're thankful for that.
Great. Lastly, I just want to take some time so you can share some resources, because I think that is huge. People need to know where to go and be able to sign up for these awesome programs that you guys are putting on.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this will be rolling on a screen so you don't have to get your pencil and write it down real quick. But the best place to start, I think, is the Town of Breck housing website. So that's www.townofbreckhousing.com. We've got a link on our site to the Summit Combined Housing Authority website, and there's a lot of information on their site too. So you could start there at the Summit Combined Housing Authority website. But if you start on ours, you'll be linked there automatically. There also is on our site a link to sign up if you want to be notified of upcoming projects or strategies. It's sort of our housing info email blast. So you can sign up for that on the townofbreckhousing.com.
Yeah, would certainly also encourage you to reach out to your local realtor. They can help you and get a search set up for any deed restricted properties that come online. They can also get you up to speed and help you with any of the buy down listings that come out there. So yeah, a lot of good resources out there to find out what's going on.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you both for your time, and thank you guys for tuning in.